context. And you will see what the Lord will do. He changed. Anybody who do not reflect on their life to make change in the ways that are wicked and evil, that is contradictory to the will of God, has no redemption. He changed. But still, they went after him. Make no mistake to misunderstand this, to think that is I am making a comparison between Christ and the Nnamdi Kanu. Please, you heard me clearly. This was a message that was going on, and the thought of Nnamdi Kanu came when I received the message. Because we find some people still doing the same thing to people today. They disagreed with Christ and his followers and his message. They condemned him to death. And remember that in their mind too, at the time, they thought they were defending God, and they were doing what is right, and they were obeying God's commandment to put to death somebody who refused to listen to their instruction. Just like you see people today strap a bomb on their bodies and go and bomb places and kill destroy the temple in them with the hope of having to rejoice in paradise with 70 virgins. Like those that are planning to bomb and kill President Trump because he wouldn't succumb to their demands. And he would no longer be a slave to the powers of this world. But the Lord said it will not happen. So you get to listen to what the Lord is saying in this passage. Because I'm going to take you also to the book of Luke. If you read Luke chapter 2 and 23, you should read that by yourself. If you read that, you will see the trial. Who is the greatest in the house of the Lord? I will take from chapter 23 few verses. In 23 verse 2, it says, we found this man misleading our nation and forbidding to pay taxes to Caesar, and saying that he himself is Christ and a king. At first they tried Jesus in the church, which is still the standard till today. That trial must take place in our court and a judgment rendered. If it is a sin and a crime that violates the laws of the land, the civic laws, we hand you over to the police. Then they try you also there. We shall not cover evil, neither shall we cover wickedness. That's the position of the church of Christ. It is our position and the position of the soldiers. So you know today. No cover up, no favoritism in the Bible study last week or so. I gave you some examples. When we're talking about favoritism, it's not allowed. The same way and judgment and the same standard that God holds onto the believers, also he holds onto unbelievers. The difference is that for those who are believers, we can judge. But those who are unbelievers, God judges them. And the judgment upon unbelievers comes from the righteous hand of the civic government. If you remember in the book of Romans chapter 13, that's why we are also in the world, and that's why he just gave an example and accused Christ of not paying taxes. Because that's what they're going to use to get the government to get involved. They knew among the people and his followers, they will not agree. So they took them to the people in order to arouse the riots. So Pilate asked him, saying, "Are you the king of the Jews?" And he answered him, "It is as you say." And I jumped to 5. But they kept on insisting, saying, "He stirs up the people, teaching all over Judea, starting from Galilee, even as far as this place." Is there a difference to what they're charging now in the canon? The thing the civil authorities know that always works, they learned and decided to use the example of Christ against innocent people in order to bring them to death and destroy their lives. Where does such practice come from? Can they say it came from God? The only one time is allowed is to fulfill all righteousness. To fulfill the words of the prophecy, in order to enable God to descend as man, so that he can show you how much he loves you. God allowed it and decreed it. The process and the procedure, never to be used against another human being. But they still use it. They want to condemn him to death. And you say that death shall run away, that the spirit of death will not visit the people and the hands that foment such a thing. How can that be if God is just? And we know that God is just.